What's going on, you guys? This is Timothy Odell with Odell Complete Concrete, and today what I'm going to be doing is a nice, easy beginner concrete shed slab. Very easy and simple to do with the right procedures and steps, and especially with the right tools. But I'm going to just show you guys a step-by-step process of what I went through to put this little shed slab together. So starting off with the formwork. As you can see, I'm nailing the back of that 2x4 into the other one, and what you would want to make sure you get these corners nice and square when you're starting out is a carpenter square, or you can go old school and do the 3-4-5 method if you don't have a carpenter square, of course. Pretty much what you want to do for the 3-4-5 method is, on the corner that I'm in right now, you measure out one way 3 feet, put a nail in, as you can see as I'm doing, and then you measure the other way 4 feet, put a nail in, or mark it, whatever you prefer. I prefer putting nails in because I can use the nails to put my tape measure on. And if you get 5 feet, you know you're square and you're ready to start putting stakes behind the 2x4 and nailing them in. So once that was all done, I just broke out the level, making sure that I'm getting level slab, because in the directions when I was reading it to put together the shed, it was saying that the slab had to be level, not sloped. And initially I was thinking putting some slope in on it, but it didn't need any slope, so good thing we double checked and we made the shed or the forms level. Now what we're doing is just taking out a little bit of dirt. This dirt was actually really hard. It had a lot of good base underneath it, I can tell, because it was just hard to dig up, as I can recall. And then another good thing to remember, guys, is to like, if you get just straight 2x4 that's 8 feet and 2x4 that's 10 feet, and you're thinking you're gonna get an 8x10, it's not gonna work like that, because you gotta account for the width of the 2x4s. And what we're doing right now is measuring corner to corner on the shed slab, making sure that we got a nice, even, square formwork for the concrete to go in. We pretty much measured from every way possible just to make sure we got what we needed. This shed slab is going to be 8x10, by the way. So as you can see, I'm just watering the dirt, compacting the dirt a little bit more for us, expanding the soil. And here we are starting to pour it out. We got a mixer set up in the front. We're using a Blue Hawk 4500 PSI. Definitely my favorite by far. Very great for beginners to use. You can get it from Lowe's. Easiest to finish, I think. If you tried using like Quickrete, that stuff is like just not good, honestly, because it just doesn't have much cement in it or sand, and it's just hard to get a good finish on. So as you can see, as we're pouring the concrete out, we're screening the concrete back, trying to get it as level as possible so we don't have any waves or bumps in it. And we're also floating it as we're going, because, you know, mixing it by hand takes a little while. We're also getting the edging the concrete. And the PSI of this concrete was about 4,500, so you know this shed slab is gonna be super strong. And we actually didn't use any rebar for this, as you guys can tell. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be saying stuff about that, like, oh, you didn't use rebar, what, why? Well, the reason why we didn't use rebar is because technically this shed slab is so small that if it was to shift or move, it's gonna move as one whole piece rather than try to pull away from each other. I mean, you totally could put the rebar in. I just think it would be overkill, personally. And the homeowner was on a budget, and I was working with her as best as I could. cutting prices with her, and we came to an agreement like, hey, you know, I can take the rebar out for this much less, and we settled with that. So as you can see, we got the whole shed poured out, and I don't know if you guys saw that real quick. I was putting the level on top of the 2x4 across the slab to make sure that I got a nice and even level slab. And as you can see, we're just edging all the corners, filling in places where it might be low. And we're going over all the line marks caused by the edger with the floater. Better to get it now than later. It will be harder later. And then we're double checking everything, making sure everything's level. Surprisingly, well, not really surprisingly, but we got everything level, like with just screeding it nice and easy, easy the first time. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that though, and you'll have to move the concrete either with like a bull float or troweling it, pushing it in one way or the other. Luckily, we did a good job on the screeding, and it came out nice and level. So now we're just using our trowels. I believe they're like a 24-inch trowels, round trowel and square trowels. Getting the finishing touches on it. I think this whole shed dried within 4 to 5 hours total. And as you can see, we already have one side, the closer side to us, broomed. I think we did like 3 passes on this shed overall before we got a full and final broom finish on it. The top right corner though seemed to dry the slowest. I think we waited like an extra hour or 2 almost just to get that top right corner dry. It was ridiculous. But also, when you're brooming, guys, you want to broom when it's more on the dry side, so you don't get that really rigid exposed aggregate. It just makes the surface a lot rougher and just not as pretty, and a nice smooth finish. So there it is, guys. That's the finished product that we got at the end. Came out beautiful. Homeowner was happy, and hope this helps you guys with your next project of pouring a shed slab. If there are any questions, go ahead and comment. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell for our latest and greatest videos, and thank you guys for the support. And don't forget to like the video, because it really helps promote the video for other people to view and learn from. Thank you guys.